So in today's video, I'd like to talk about two different things. I wanted to share with you some of the things I've been reading lately, because it has changed since the last time I uploaded. So this is kind of my November TBR, and then later I also wanted to share with you some of my fall book recommendations, kind of for late fall, because I am in a serious Christmas mood right now, and I'm trying to just be present in the late autumn because it's one of my favorite seasons and I don't want to miss out on it. And I always jump on Christmas way too early. So I wanted to share with you some moody kind of late fall recommendations that are some of my favorite things to read. I haven't read all of them. I thought that it might be nice to try and keep myself in the fall zone until it's time for Christmas. So first I'm going to talk about what I've been reading, and then I'll move on and talk about those a little bit later. So the first one that I wanted to mention is Emma, because I did finally finish it. I went on that trip, like I said, and I was not able quite to finish it before I left. I did some serious reading of it on the plane though, so I had like just a few pages left for most of my trip, and it drove me a little bit crazy, but I did finally finish it while I was on that trip. I have not yet read all of her books. I think I've read all of them except now Mansfield Park and Sense and Sensibility, which I know are two major ones. There's only 6 of them, so I've read 4 out of 6 now, and I read Emma. I think I just finished it before November started, so this could technically belong in October. It's definitely not one of my favorite Jane Austens. Well, how do I say that? All of Jane Austen's are my favorite, but Pride and Prejudice is still definitely number 1 for me because I can relate to Elizabeth more than I can relate to Emma. My church book club was talking about this, and we agreed that Emma is definitely the extrovert protagonist and Elizabeth in Pride and Prejudice is more of the introvert protagonist, and that they have both the virtues and the vices of being an introvert or an extrovert, and that was really interesting. But I'm more of an introvert person, so I think I identify with Elizabeth's vices a little bit more than Emma, but still wonderfully written, still recommend. So since I finished Emma, I got back immediately to 2 of the other books that I had already had on my last reading list, and one of those is the Iliad, and I won't talk about this one as much as I did last time. I'm finally going to get back to this. My goal is to have this finished before Thanksgiving, but I want to have it finished before the holidays get picked up because it'll be really hard to sit down and read a book like this. That's a little more difficult after I want to be having fun making Christmas cookies and doing Christmas things. I'm going to try and get through this because I know if I don't finish it before the end of the month, I probably won't finish it before the end of the year. That's definitely high priority. The next highest priority, I would say, even though I've been reading more of this one and less of the Iliad lately, is Jonathan Strange. Because like I said before as well, this one just has those wonderful fall vibes, and I just don't think I'm going to be interested in that come the new year. So I really want to get through as much of this as I can. I don't think I'm quite going to finish it because I have quite a lot of reading on my to-do list right now. But I've been picking it up every morning, and I've made a good amount more progress than I had before, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a little bit, I don't want to say dark, because I think by modern standards it's not very dark at all. It's just the magical themes touch on a little bit of darker spiritual themes that I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of, but I'm going to keep giving it a chance. I want to finish it, and then I'll make my judgments then after I've finished it. But so far I'm still really enjoying it. It's really got all of those aesthetic qualities of autumn that you want, but also it's still really wonderfully written, and it doesn't feel like cheesy or trite, or like just putting in those things in there for the sake of it, which I really appreciate. So that one's up there for me. Hopefully I can finish that. So the next one is one that I've been meaning to read for a while. I've had it on my bookshelf probably since the spring, but it's kind of sentimental to me because, well, the book is Heidi by Johanna Spyri, and my grandmother was from Switzerland, and she sent me this book when I was a little girl, and I think it was a little bit above my reading level at the time, so I never actually got around to reading it. The main character of the book is Heidi, and she lives in the Alps, and I wanted to kind of connect with my grandmother and the story that she wanted to share with me when I was little. So it's a children's classic, obviously. I've been enjoying a lot more youth and middle grade literature this year. I find that they have really excellent stories. Like, a lot of adult literature doesn't always have motivating stories anymore. They can be kind of nihilistic, and children don't buy that stuff. Children want real stories, and so I've been enjoying engaging more with youth literature lately. So I was really excited to pick this one up. I started reading it with my husband because we like to read to each other sometimes, but I think I might just carry on and read it myself so that I can really dive into it and really have the experience. Next on my reading list is the next pick for our church book club, and that's My Antonia by Willa Cather, which I've also never read. This one was never required for me in high school. I moved around to a bunch of different schools when I was young, so I got kind of a spotty literature curriculum, I guess you could say. But this is, classic American story, and I had absolutely no idea what it was about. But apparently it's about Antonia, who's a Czech immigrant with her family to the prairies of the United States. And it's sort of the story of her life through the eyes of her friend of this American family who lives on the plains. And it sounds really sweet and sad and good, but I haven't started it yet. So that's gonna have to get started sometime soon. So the last one that I have, I don't know if this is technically on my reading list or not, because I have a lot on my reading list right now, but I found this Kate Morton really cheap at a indie bookstore in town. And this is the one that was actually on my to read list. Like, I picked up another one lately and I was like, was this the one that I had wanted? I don't remember if this is the one that I had thought that I wanted, but this is the one. This is the one that I had wanted, that I put on my Goodreads list, and it's The Forgotten Garden. And it sounds like another one of those stories where she weaves two different timelines together, and it just sounds really good. And I want to pick this one up, but like, as you can see, I already have like 5 other books that either I had already started or have more priority than this one, but this just sounds really good and I want to read it, so I might just start it because I want to. And the cover's really great, and it looks all spooky, and spooky season's gonna be gone soon, and well, I guess for some people spooky season's already gone, but the autumn is going to be gone soon, and it just looks really perfect for that. But I might save this one for later in the winter when I need more just lighter reading than the Iliad. So. I also wanted to share with you guys some books and some pieces, some poems that really encourage that late autumn atmosphere, because it's really easy to rush on into Christmas, and it's really easy to kind of glaze over this last part of November and of the fall, because all the leaves here are kind of gone and the weather's kind of changing. And I just want to embrace this time of year and not run too fast through life. So this late season of autumn, to me, the medieval period and medieval sort of Renaissance imagery really speaks to the autumn to me. So I've got most of my pieces have something to do with that I'm going to share. So the first thing that I wanted to recommend is one of my favorite poets, and that's Alfred Lord Tennyson, and especially his poem, The Lady of Shalott. It tells this wonderful story. It's a narrative poem, and here it is in my very large anthology. I won't hold it up because there's not much to see anyway. It's a narrative poem, and it's this beautiful, magical, it's from the Romantic period. It's this Romantic period poem about a woman who's trapped in a tower, and she longs to get out of the tower, and sort of her journey that are trying to escape her circumstances, and there's all these beautiful medieval symbolism, and I won't spoil it, it's just a few pages long, so I really highly recommend that for a very romantic, longing sort of atmosphere that I think just really captures that late autumn feeling. And it's one of my favorite poems. It's been one of my favorite poems for years, or really any of Lord Tennyson's poems, because he's that romantic, he's really a quintessential romantic sort of pre-Raphaelite writer. So I think you really couldn't go wrong with most of his poems for this category, but The Lady of Shalott is my personal favorite. The next one that I want to recommend for this late autumn category is one that I just read this year, and it's called His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik. It's a novel, and it is so good. My brother recommended this to me because he was always into dragons and things like that when he was younger, especially, so he knows all of these great like fantasy and dragon books, and he recommended this to me. The premise is, what if the United Kingdom used dragons in warfare in the Napoleonic Wars? And you follow this, of course, you follow one particular dragon and one particular person who is the dragon rider, becomes the dragon rider. And it's just really, really good. It was really entertaining. It was really moving. And I don't want to spoil it too much because it feels like one that's easy to spoil, but the main character dragon is so adorable. So you've got dragons, you've got England in the early 19th century, and the sort of dramatic and really moving tale about that time period involving dragons, and all of that just screams cozy autumn reading to me. So I highly recommend that one. So next is just a quick recommendation because I haven't read this one, but I've heard that it's very good. So this one is The Black Arrow by Robert Louis Stevenson. And I love this little paperback because it has a great cover, and you can probably gather just from looking at the cover that it's a retelling of Robin Hood. The Black Arrow is a rather definitive retelling of Robin Hood. I think it's one of the ones that sort of brought Robin Hood into the modern psyche. So again, romping around in the forest in medieval times just speaks the late autumn to me. So I probably won't be reading this year, but I think it definitely fits the vibe. So last but definitely not least, for those late autumn vibes and that cozy atmosphere, that sort of medieval romping through the forest atmosphere, I can't not recommend The Lord of the Rings. I have this wonderful set here with these covers, and I looked for these covers for a long time because they were just so beautiful that I wanted to have a complete set. And this, The Two Towers, was the one that I had by far the hardest time finding. I've never seen another copy of this particular one, so if you own these, like, let me know, because I had such a hard time finding these, and I'm so happy to have them. And I might just be showing them to show off the covers, so that might be part of it. But if you want romping through the forest, and you want atmosphere, and you want nature and those medieval and ancient world magic sort of atmosphere, like, you really can't beat The Lord of the Rings. Like, I think especially The Fellowship of the Ring will give you those feelings because there's all like the parts in the Shire and the parts where they're, you know, traveling to Rivendell and like meeting all the elves and doing these things. But I really don't think that you can beat, especially The Fellowship of the Ring, for late autumn atmosphere, for sure. And it's definitely one of my favorite books, and I'm never not reading Lord of the Rings. So highly recommend that for this time of year. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you're reading for your late autumn picks in the comments. And if you're as big of a Tolkien fan as I am, please also leave a comment. So thanks so much for joining me.